So why AWS? There are so many cloud computing in the market. Right? What are the cloud computing company there in this market? Can somebody tell me? Any idea apart from AWS?
Google, AWS, Microsoft, IBM, and then many more. And now there's so many small companies as well. So these are the big companies. Yeah.
Yes, there are Oracle. There are a lot of good big players are in the market, right? But
Yeah.
AWS, Amazon Web Service, the full name is AWS. So let me take my pen, and if I just draw something AWS. So AWS stands for Amazon Web Service. We will discuss in detail the history of Amazon Web Service little later on. But Amazon Web Service is the pioneer in the cloud. There are so many other cloud service providers, Shraddha rightly mentioned, Microsoft Azure and Google. They are all inspired by AWS. Okay. Again, we don't spend much time in theory. Since today is a first class, I'm a pretty hands-on guy. So 80 to 90% time we'll spend in hands-on and lot of configuration and setup. Since today is the first day, again I repeat. So we'll need to know something to start with. We need to have some of the context, right? Otherwise, we cannot straight jump into the configuration, setup configurations process. But this is something you should know, all right? Okay. So now what is cloud? Any idea, Abhay? Cloud, yeah. What is cloud? Any idea?
I mean, actually, it's a virtual estate where we can save data or doing our activity.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes, so cloud is the space where you can put your data. Okay, but this is very plain English, right? We are going to learn AWS Solutions Architect. We'll become a Solutions Architect, isn't it? So this answer still is okay, but we need to know more about that. So that is the first line. Cloud computing lets you stop thinking of infrastructure as hardware and instead think of it as a software. That means you don't need to think any capacity planning for your infrastructure. Okay. So, you can host, you can upload, you can set up your infrastructure on cloud almost in an unlimited way, right? There are massive amount of data you can store. There are massive amount of infrastructure you can have. There's a massive amount of networking components you can have. So that means it is a kind of infrastructure that you can provision on the cloud without any capacity planning. Very important term. Okay. So capacity planning you don't need to have, because if there's a no cloud, then what would happen? You need to think of lot of capacity planning. How many servers, how many storage, how many, sorry, you're saying something?
No, I was saying yes.
Okay. How many storage, how many database, there are a lot of things that will come into there later. So that is something, it is one of the USPs. And second thing is a pay as you go model. What is that? Pay as you go model means till the time I use my infrastructure, I have to pay. If I don't use that particular stuff, then I don't need to pay, isn't it? So that is the pay as you go model. Okay. जब तक use करना है तब तक pay करो, otherwise you don't need to pay. Just give me a second, guys. Just plug battery ran out. So now let's move to next screen. So there's a little comparison. Okay. What is comparison? On my left hand side, plain English, it is saying is on premises. On premises means there's no cloud. These are traditional data centers that you have, isn't it? Okay. So now, if you have the on-premise traditional data centers, then you are solely responsible for every single thing that you have in the on-premises environment. When I say you, means you and your team. That means your servers, your storage, your database, your applications, everything you have to manage. Now the question is, sir, what is on-premises? What is data center? Any idea why what is it? Because why I'm asking why? Because that would be very interactive sessions. Shraddha, she has done a couple of training, she has got some of the understanding. So you are very new. So, sorry to spot you on spot, but just try to help me to understand what do you mean, what do you think about the data center? Any idea? If you don't know, it's okay, but you just try to answer. Okay. Shraddha, do you know that?
So data center, like if I want to run any application, so my app will run like use servers and storage stuff. So it is just one computer and one server. But if like I have multiple developers, so it will be like multiple storage, multiple server. So in that case, like it's very difficult to store them in a room. So it's like a data center. It's like a room with the racks. So there are like multiple servers and in one big like private area. So we can use that space to like store the server, storage, RAM, everything. So it's like bunch of IT resources there.
Cool. Very nice. So whatever you said, you're absolutely right. So data center is nothing but a building, okay, or a room where a bunch of servers, bunch of storages, bunch of networking components there, right? And you guys can access over the network, isn't it? Correct?
Yes.
But if you run the on-premise environment, there are a lot of challenges because I was the data center guy long back. I know the pain in terms of how to manage the data centers, okay? Because the data center, you are responsible for high availability. You are responsible for disaster recovery, isn't it? You have to responsible for security. You are responsible for all of the other stuff like air conditioning, right? You need to manage the power and supply. So every single thing you are being responsible for. But the moment if I go to this guy, cloud, then you really don't need to manage anything, right? Because you don't own any data center. The data center is being owned by AWS, isn't it? Their data center. All you can have, you can host your servers, your databases, your storage, your applications, your networking, every single stuff you can deploy in the cloud, which is AWS this time. And now you can access those things over the internet, right? And this is a pay as you go model. That means if you don't need servers, you don't need to pay. You don't need to use storage, then you don't need to pay. So that is the paradigm shift in the entire IT community or IT world, that the cloud service provider, so popular and small, right from small startup to big enterprises, they are choosing the cloud because that is the main comparison you will get if you go to cloud. Make sense? No. So let me discuss this very important slide, guys. Please pay attention to this slide because if you don't understand, then everything will be a kind of little, blurry in AWS because that is the fundamental stepping stone. What is global infrastructure? Okay. So AWS, they have a lot of regions. Okay. So now what is region, sir? So region is nothing a kind of geographical presence of AWS. Geographical presence means they have got the identity in that particular city or country, isn't it? AWS does have presence in the US, in UK, Asia Pacific, everywhere AWS has their footprint. almost 38 regions currently AWS have, 36, 38 that we'll discuss. So region is nothing, a kind of geographical presence, right? Uska presence hai, that in particular city and country. So now that you understand, okay, sir, I understand the region that you are talking about, but what about the availability zones or AZ? So AZ or AZ, that is the short abbreviations of availability zones. Okay? Availability zones, these are the real data centers. What is that? Real data centers. You touch and feel. Okay, it's kind of physical data centers. So in one region, you see that right now we are in, let's say, EU West 1, Ireland, in region. Inside the region, AWS does have the, let's say, 3 availability zones. It's only hypothetically. Okay, example. That means that AWS has 3 data centers. So one AZ means one or more than one data centers inside the particular AZ. Okay. So now in one region, I can see AWS has 3 AZ. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Can anybody tell me what is the purpose of having the multiple AZ or availability zones in one region?
Disaster recovery.
Absolutely, yes. Disaster recovery or high availability. Okay. High availability or disaster recovery, these are the completely 2 different concepts we'll discuss, but I can take your answer, Shraddha. Like, this is a kind of high availability in case, oh, there's an ambulance still, something, okay, now stop. So let's say if this AZ goes down, then let's say your application, let me put it this way. So all of the AZs are connected each other using AWS backbone fiber optics. Okay, so these backbone fiber optics, these are high throughput, less latency, bandwidth. So that means all of the data are continuously getting replicated. Okay, so let's say if I host my applications, okay, and let's say this is the load balancer, we'll discuss what is that, and my applications are hosted here and here. Okay, and my users, my customers, their request is getting through this load balancer. Load balancer means it's a kind of distributing the load balance, correct? So in a particular time, let's say in a situations, let's say this data center completely goes down for some natural calamities, some of the disaster strikes, whatever might be. So don't worry. So what AWS says, since we have multiple AZ or AZ availability zones, so your request now will go to this data center, so AZ. So from your customer perspective, they don't even know, right? One of the data center goes down, your application goes down, but your application is still up and live because it is running from the second availability zones and these availability zones, they are situated miles away, not miles away. There's a kind of meaningful distance, not miles away, you should say. It's a meaningful distance between those 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 availability zones. Make sense?
Yeah.
So in interview, in exam, so don't say that it's 100 kilometers far away. This is the miles far away. Always say that these are meaningful distance because we don't measure the accurate distance between AZs. How do you understand? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Okay. And sorry, I always speak very slow. So my training is very slow. But because I don't go fast. Otherwise you can, because I can talk day night about cloud. That's my bread and butter, right? But these are latest technology, new technology for you. You want to learn. So if I go slow, you can catch. So from this slide, these are pretty older sites. So don't go for this 26 regions. We'll see how many regions currently AWS does have. Okay. So that is the main concept today, and then we'll discuss now the little configurations, AWS Management Console. Okay.
Sir, as you told, these are also connected through fiber.
Yes. Yes.
It
They are
might be issue
they are
using
backbone.
fiber.
They are backbone fiber. They have used their own, backbone fiber. They don't, tell that what sort of fiber, what sort of cables they are using, but it's a kind of
Okay.
fiber optics. Okay, high throughput fiber optics,
Okay. High throughput or low latency.
low latency.
Okay.
Okay, good. So what is that? This is the AWS Management Console. Okay, we'll spend 90% time here, but first couple of things we'll show you. If I just type aws.amazon.com, this is the URL you need to remember till your life in terms of till the date that you think that AWS will be your career. Okay, so aws.amazon.com, that is the URL by which you should sign in your console. You can access every single stuff of AWS. So if you go to about AWS, just click on that. It is just a kind of little informations about AWS, since you are going to become the solutions architect. So Amazon, AWS, not Amazon, AWS officially launched back in 2006. Okay, please remember this year. And this is the subsidiary of Amazon. So what is Amazon? Any idea? Of course, you know, but what is that? Amazon is what company? What it does?
Sorry?
Amazon deals with what? What is the major business?
Major business is a
Huh?
commercial product selling.
Commercial product selling. Okay, not bad.
IT resource provider, but on cloud.
Okay. So Amazon.com is the parent company. So initially Amazon.com launched for a e-commerce business, right? Amazon.com, everybody knows that you log in and you buy stuff, right? A product, whatever you want, Amazon.com, correct? If I just go to Amazon,
Yeah.
it is not an IT company, by the way. The Amazon.com is a e-commerce business, okay, who deals with this kind of e-commerce product, right? So AWS is a part of Amazon, is a subsidiary of Amazon, which is an IT company, which deals with the cloud, right? So there's a history. I always say this history because I'm inside the companies. I know the history, and you will love it. So back in 2006, Amazon leadership team, the director, CEO, maybe Jeff Bezos also. Who's Jeff Bezos? You know, right? He's a founder of Amazon. Yeah. So they have started thinking, we have a very big company, giant company, and there are so many IT equipments there. Those are not in use. इस्तेमाल ही नहीं हो रहा. Data center में पड़ा हुआ है. So these are all lying in the data centers, are not getting fully utilized. What if you can rent those unused IT equipments to public? They can use those products as a rental model, pay as you go model. And I can tell you that is the big paradigm shift, big change in the IT, and then everything is history. So that then the AWS formed, the concept of AWS formed, like, people can use the stuff, people can use the IT equipments, people can use the IT services as a subscriptions model. And if the small company, they don't afford to have their own data center, they can still deploy their application, they can still deploy their some of the big infrastructure as a pay as you go model. Once the project is done, then they can discard this and they can save money. So this is the history of AWS back in 2006. Okay, yeah. So now another thing, AWS when it started back in 2006, AWS it had only 3 services. Okay. Um, since these are also very debatable topic, many folks they're saying no, these are not 3 services, they're different 3 services. So, but what I know is the EC2, SQS, and S3. Okay, these are the 3 services AWS had in 2006. EC2, I am using my mouse. Sorry for that, the bad English. EC2, S3, and then okay, it's a little slow, and then SQS. Yes. Okay. So these are 3 services AWS does have. Now AWS does have a 200 plus services. Wow. 200 plus services currently AWS does have. Right? Believe me, every single day, I know, every single day, more than 5 to 6 new features or feature changes AWS introduced every day, 5 to 6. Now you understand that how dynamic AWS is, okay, and how frequent AWS changes their services. That means, let's say today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you are done with the batches. Complete course is done. Maybe after 3 months, the complete course is done. And if you think that I know AWS inside out, then you are wrong. Why? Because you should keep your eyes on AWS. Try to know what new services AWS launching, what services AWS is getting changed. So then you will become a subject matter expert. Okay, then you will become a ninja. So because it's a continuous changing company. Okay, because AWS continuously are changing because of customer feedback. Okay, so please remember this, that once even our journey is done, you have to nurture the AWS services. At least you have to look at the blog that I'll share the link, everything with you. Okay, so that's a pretty history. Now let's start with how to create the AWS account. I need AWS management account, something like this. So without that, okay, just to give me a second. So this is a concept called AWS Management Console. You see my screen still, the console home. So this screen, this management console, that will be your console by which you have to, do everything like configurations, you have to deploy everything. There are different ways to do that. We'll learn what are the other ways except this console, like APIs or some of the CLIs. But we are not that matured right now, right? We will get there. We'll get into this, all of the options slowly. So how can you create the AWS management account? I need everybody of you should create the AWS management account in next class before we start. aws.amazon.com. This is the link, as I said. And now all you need to do, there's an option called, hold on. Today my computer is. Give me a second, please. Okay, create an AWS account. You see that? Click on that. Create an AWS account. You can repeat with me as well. No problem. If you're using your laptop or desktop. And then the next page, it will be asking the sign up. Okay. sign up for AWS. Please share your email address, any one of you. I can create the email address for you now. I mean, the AWS account for you now. You may change the password later. Abhay or Shraddha, you may share your email address. Maybe, no problem.
I will.
Tell me.
PR Abhay216 @gmail.
Abhay.
Yes, sir.
We have a
Head on chat.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, Shraddha also give it order. So it is something like that, and give it a name like Abhay. It is very straightforward. It is not very tough. Verify email. So you should get a verification code Abhay in your Gmail. You just share the code in chat as well. So you should get the verification email or code in your email.
Now.
Okay.
May take time.
8.
No, it may take time. Still, I am not completed.
Okay. May take. Okay. Just refresh your email. Probably you should get it.
Not yet.
You have not received yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So what I'll do that, once you receive, you'll just mention the verification code and verify. And once you verify, it will take you to another page where there's an option called business or personal use. Please choose the personal use. Okay. Don't choose the business one. Just choose the personal use, and then you have to fill up your debit card or credit card information. Okay. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to be afraid. They will not charge anything. Okay. This is only for their process. Even AWS will charge anything. Let's say once you will start our journey, just talk to me. I will tell you what to do. Okay. So that is the process that I will tell you, so that nothing to worry about. You don't need to pay anything. Small amount you can pay, but big amount you can avoid. Okay. Small amount is okay. I mean, maybe $1 or $2 is okay. But this is a very straightforward sign up process. But again, you need to choose the personal use, and the debit card or credit card informations you have to fill it up. Otherwise, you cannot create the AWS account. Okay. So once you are done, you will see this is your this kind of management console. All you need to do is sign in, right? Log in your Gmail address and password that you have to put. Now, if we just look at the top here, it is saying that is Asia Pacific Mumbai, correct? So if I just click on that, you'll see there are so many countries, cities are listed. Okay, these are called region. So we have discussed, right? What is region? So these are the regions. Okay. So AWS, they have a lot of regions, but they call it in a kind of little strange code. You don't need to remember all of the code. This is for their own understanding. or for API calls, or some of the developers will discuss, when you use this code. I mean, um, your developer, they don't call, okay, North Virginia, North California, right? So they simply call US OS 1, then automatically AWS will understand that that is a North California region. Okay, so they have their unique region port, right? So
Okay. So that I have to choose na here after that name country or region.
could you please come again, Abhay? आपका voice थोड़ा धीमी आ रहा है. Sorry, what's that?
During sign up,
Yeah, no,
this
no, no.
option came for country or region.
Yeah, so this option country for region, you should mention your Mumbai. Okay, your original country you have to mention in the form fill up.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't play around with false things. Whatever your address, your original address, everything you have to put it in. Okay.
Okay.
So now the regions you see, I can go to any region from the same console. I can go to North Virginia. Right now I'm in Mumbai, right? But I can go to North Virginia. Just simply click on the North Virginia button options. Now AWS will take me to the North Virginia region. Okay. Looks and feels same, but now I'm into the North Virginia region. It's not AWS is my browser. See that is completely got frozen. Let me close some of them. So now it will take me to the North. Your internet connection is unstable. Okay. You see the North Virginia. So now, if I just click on the left icon, you see that there's a left icon. And if I just click, you see so many services are there, are listed, right? So these are all different category: analytics, applications, integrations, blockchain, then compute, containers, databases. You see that networking, content delivery. So if I just click on one of the category, compute, on right hand side, these are all services coming under the compute. Okay, EC2, batch, app runner, Lambda, Lightshell. So these are all services. Similarly, if I go to networking and content delivery, these are all different networking services come under the network and content delivery category, like VPC, Route 53, Direct Connect, okay, all of this stuff. So these are all different services clubbed together in a specific category, okay. So sometimes it is very difficult to remember in which services are having in which category, right? That's why there's a search options. You just simply select S3, okay. Then this service will come up. You just simply select, let's say, VPC. It simply comes up, right? Something you can launch from here as well. It's very easy, right? Search. So another important criteria, like all of the services you see, if you just click here, all of the services here. Math machines is okay. So now if I just click on the particular services here, if I go to EC2, let's say if I just click on EC2, so each and most of the AWS services, they are region centric services. What's that? Region centric services. That means this EC2, if I launch something here, if I deploy something here, it will only stay inside the North Virginia. That means if I create two servers, EC2, one is Shraddha, second is Abhay. So those EC2s only will stay in that particular region. We have to see those EC2 from that particular region. Why do you think, guys? Why AWS has come up with this idea, like, some of the services only stays in one of the regions? Any idea? What is the common sense?
Otherwise, all the regions having same name, different servers.
Okay, same name, different servers.
That also may be reason. Or for nomenclature, it's also too much lengthy.
That's an interesting answer. Nobody answered this kind of answer for last 10 to 12 years, not hours. But yeah, these are different answer, Abhay. Thank you. But the main purpose of having that is security. Okay, because let's say if somebody from UK, their data, their application should inside that particular geographical border, because everything is a kind of political alignment, right? If you think from a different glass, everything's a political alignment. Agar आपके पास कोई data है, if you have any data in Australia, and from India, if you can have the access of data, I mean, it's a kind of little conflict, right? So each and every government, each and every country's government, they have a kind of security border that's saying that, okay, the data should stay inside the country, not beyond the countries. Okay, so that is the one of the main aspects, the reasons that the many services are kind of region centric services. This is number one. Number two, the performance. What is performance? Let's assume, let me open my draw.io. There's a whiteboard that I use, draw.io.
Is it because of latency?
Absolutely. So this is because of the latency and the performance. It's a netflix.com, for an example. So if the netflix.com, it is hosted on Mumbai, for an example, Netflix is an American company, by the way. But if it would be in Mumbai, then what is the problem? Problem, definitely one is the security, and second is main problem is the latency. Because if somebody from US or Australia or maybe Canada or maybe other, so they will get a lot of latency than the India, isn't it? Let's say it is a Netflix hosted in Mumbai, and you are from UK, for an example only. Okay, you are from maybe another customer from US, so on and so forth, and somebody from India. So his or her experience far better than these two man or lady, isn't it? So that's why the database should be closer to the clients. Okay. So now if I just distribute something like that, let's say if you have this kind of architecture, so that this US or UK, their request will go from the local storage, right? So that from the latency perspective, it will be much faster, isn't it? So that's why always being an architect, always ask to your customer that where's your major client based out? If they're saying, okay, my major client is based out India, then it's always good option to have your infrastructure in Mumbai. But if these are global customers, then you have to think through what would be your architecture. Then we'll discuss in later point of time. There's a CloudFront, CDN, caching. There's a lot of different services, AWS positions. Don't get confused right now. I'm just sharing the thoughts. You just relax and just try to understand. Because architecture is a common sense. It's a more of the common sense. You just need to apply your brain, okay, and then you have to apply. Okay, now AWS services, okay. But this is that about the main reasons of having different regions across the globe. AWS has. Any questions so far? No questions?
No.
Okay. Now, what we'll learn, I mean, we already learned, but let's start with the service called VPC. Okay. You see that? If I just type VPC, ooh, it's a Google Cloud. No, we are learning Amazon Cloud, right? Not Google Cloud. So VPC is a common name. So Google but if I just click on the Amazon VPC, I don't know, it's a pathetic day for today for me. Your internet connections is unstable. I don't know, I have to restart this. You can hear me loud and clear still?
Yeah.
I don't know because time to time.
Sometimes it's true, but now it's
Okay. So the full name is Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. Okay. So what is that? So whenever you see the VPC, Amazon Virtual Cloud, that means this is the networking. So virtual private cloud name is little confusing. You think, okay, again cloud, again virtual. We are already learning AWS. Again inside that virtual private cloud, what do you mean? So this naming is little interesting, but this is something related to network. If you are the networking guy, you love that. If you don't know networking, no problem. I'm here to give you some of the understanding. So we learned the VPC today. Before that, before I forget, if you just type AWS Region, global infrastructures and regions, you see the different regions, North America, US, but I don't want this. Let me go back. Yes. So now you see that currently AWS does have 36 launch regions, 114 availability zones, and 700 CloudFront POPs. What is that? We'll discuss later. But now you understand after today's class what is region and availability zones. So till today, AWS does have 36 launched regions. Maybe tomorrow you can see that will be 37. Maybe day after tomorrow you can see 38. Not that frequent. But yes, AWS continuously launching the different region across the globe. So this number will be dynamic, isn't it? Don't need to remember. Okay? Just stay, stay here. So this is the informations for your quiz, an upcoming quiz. That's why,
Sir, one dot.
Yeah.
Here we see 700 plus plot front.
POP, yes.
Yeah. What that means?
Yes. So if you are the telco guy, you know what is POP is a point of presence, right? That means AWS does have a different, smaller footprint, smaller data center, okay, across the world. 36 is a bigger data centers, right? The regions is a very massive, big, fat. But however,
in between 114 AJ.
So inside region you have anyways the availability zones, AZ.
Yeah.
Apart from that, AWS does have a lot of smaller data center, POP locations, just like you know that in telco on the building there's antenna, right? That we call POP, isn't it? Like there's a point of it is not like that way, but they have a one small building or smaller room where they have their own POP locations, it will be needed for the caching. Caching means, let's say, I am a big fan of Netflix. I watch movies weekend. Have you ever noticed that Netflix is very slow? Very rare, right? It is damn fast all of the time. It is no. If your network is good, then you will never experience that Netflix is very slow, right? It's instant. There's no jittering, no buffering. How? Because Netflix basically one of the biggest customer of AWS. Okay, Netflix actually running on AWS cloud. Okay, at backend. Do you know Hotstar? Geo Hotstar, not Geo Hotstar. So earlier
Yes.
Hotstar is also hosted on AWS. Okay, so their main weapon, they're not weapon, their main service, Hotstar or this Netflix, this OTT channel. These days OTT very popular, right? Your age, my age. So OTT platform, their main service is H or content delivery network. Do you know that? CDN. That we'll have a discussions. CDN is CDN. What CDN does? What CDN does is CDN will cache your static assets across different POP locations or cache locations. That means the videos. Netflix is nothing like the videos, right? It's a pre-recorded videos. All we watch the recordings of the videos, isn't it?
Yes.
Those in IT, these are called static assets. What is that? Static assets. So those videos, those images, those files, AWS distributes across different POP locations, different cache locations, so that anybody from Rajasthan, anybody from Seattle, anybody from Brisbane, anybody from different part of the globe, they can access the same videos, instantly, fast, super fast. Why? Because their content will get delivered to the closest POP from that person. You understand now?
Yes,
So
sir.
it's not going through all the way through the Seattle or North Virginia where not Netflix is running actually. No. The video contents are already cached very closer to the subscriber, like me, you. So that whenever I want to watch, the some of my favorite movies, okay. So my movies will get delivered from the closest cache of POP locations. Does it answer to your questions? Abhay, does it answer your
Yeah.
questions?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We'll take a short break, 5 minutes, and we'll come back and we'll stay another half an hour. Okay? Stay there.
Okay.
All right, so I'm back, but you still need to give 2 more seconds. Just hold on. Mhm. Okay, are you back, guys? All set?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So let's start the discussion of Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, VPC. So if you just go to the search again, type VPC, VPC, launch it from these options. You can still go to the category and options that under networking that you know. So if I launch VPC and create a VPC first, still VPC console is loading for me. You see that by default it is so that it means that VPC is also it's a region centric service, right? It's a region service. So there are a lot of VPCs currently I have is if I just click on the VPC sections or your VPC, if I just click on that, it will take me to the VPC dashboard. And I have got 1, 2, 3, 4 VPCs for different batches. So I'll create a fresh new VPC here. Okay. So if I just click create VPC from here, since it's a very new class, first day, fresh, and if you don't know network much, we'll start with some of the ready-made way. Ready-made way means if you just go to garment shop, buy a t-shirt or trousers, those are already ready-made product. So that means if you choose this VPC and more options, then AWS will do a lot many things for you automatically. But there's no fun, isn't it? If you don't know nitty-gritty of each and everything, then इसमें fun कैसा है, right? We need to know. But again, let's start with the ready-made and then we can discuss VPC only later point of time, maybe next day. So VPC and more, it is something like I'm going to create a big network first. Now, probably you are scratching your head and saying, okay, big network, what do you mean, sir? What I mean, if you work somewhere, or let's say if you are the graduate engineers, so you anyways went to your college or campus, isn't it? And there also you have seen that there's the moment you connect your laptop or desktop, the network was there, right? The internet was there, or some of the local campus network or college network you have. How? Because your college campus, they have their own network setup. Similarly, if you work somewhere, if you go to office, the moment you go to office, you connect your laptop or desktop, you're part of your office. Now you come back to your home. And the moment you walk in your home and you are connected to your home network, isn't it? So everywhere you go, there's a network. Without network, you cannot start. Without network, you cannot start. There's no point of servers. Without the network, your smartphone will become unsmart, isn't it? Your iPhone, your Apple phone, it will not become a smartphone, right? It's an unsmartphone. Why? Because the network plays a significant role in infrastructure. You are the developer, you are the AI guy, or if you are the DevOps guy, doesn't matter. Network plays a significant role. So that's why we'll start with the VPC and the networking first. We need to understand. Laptop, मेरा laptop बहुत बुरा हाल है आज, very bad shape. I don't know. I mean, I have to restart this. Otherwise, I cannot teach. Tonight, there's another batch from 9. I don't know. Let me.
It's laptop issue or network issue?
It's a laptop issue. This is not network issue. Something, background process is going on over, and it's
Okay.
everything got frozen. I have got another Mac on my left, but something processing there. I cannot use that one. I'm a little Mac guy, but the problem is the background. Some of the application processes there. Okay, let me repeat once again the VPCs and create VPCs. VPC and more. Okay, so that means if I draw something here, a big square. What is that? This is your office network, or whatever you call it, master network, or you can call it VPC. Okay. The first thing in AWS, you have to create this guy, VPC. That means it's a network. Exactly, I'm going to do right now. Give it a name. Let's say Telco 5G project. How about that? So let's say some of the applications, some of the things, Telco 5G. Okay. So there's just a name. Okay, just a name. I could give Shraddha Rawai, no problem. So now here it is asking about the CIDR range about your network. That means what is your network name of your VPC? Just giving a name, computer don't understand. Computer doesn't understand what is the name all about. Give me some kind of numeric values, isn't it? So in networking, you have to give some of the networking range. If you don't know anything about networking, I still can remember in the long back when Shraddha, I had a first demo discussions. Shraddha told me that I don't have much knowledge in networking. I'm not sure whether you are not, Shraddha. But if you are, then I will share 4 or 5 recordings with you. Those recordings are from Jeremy Chara. He's a genius in networking. Okay.
Okay.
And you just go, even if it's Avaya, it will be applicable for Avaya. You just go through these 4 or 5 recordings, you'll understand the little math, little calculations behind this IP addressing calculations. It is not tough. Okay. If you have done BTech, it is just like a piece of cake for you. Okay. So, but you'll understand how the snatting, the subnetting or, this IP math works. I'll not spend much time here. Otherwise, that will be another 5 to 7 hours. I'll spend only for this netting, these IP addressing thing. But right now, as simple as that, I have to give a name. I have to give a IP range to my big square, big network, which is 10.0.0.0/16. 16 is the highest value in AWS. 16 is the highest value in AWS from the networking perspective. That means you'll get 65,536 IPs to provision. That means if you have so many IPs, then now you can assign those IPs to different services. It can be 65,000 Elastic EC2. It can be 65,000 databases. You just figure it out, right? It can be mix and match. I mean, the 65,536 resource you can deploy. But you can also narrow down the range 28 as well, only 60. So that is the smaller 28. If you don't need to provision that much of resources. So no problem, starts with 60. There's a big value, no problem. And this 10 series, many students ask, sir, is this 10 series 10.0.0.0/60 is it mandatory, or I can change the number? Anything you can. You can go for 192 series.168. You can go for 172 series, whatever you go for, no problem. But in industry, in IT industry, 10 is a good number. I mean, in terms of 10 is a class A, okay, in networking. So class A addresses, it will have a bigger, IPs, but no problem. 10, 192, 172, whatever you feel you do. But in most of the organization, they use this 10 series IPs. Scroll down. There's another section called IP version 6. No IP version 6. And Amazon provided IP version 6 cited block. So, Abhay, you should know because you are from telco.
Yes.
What is the need of IP version 6? Why people are using IP version 6? They are talking IP version 6 these days. What is the problem of IP version 4? Any idea?
No, there will be latency for that.
Okay, not latency. The answer is, yeah, sorry, yeah, answer.
They are almost like finishing from the market, so there is a need of IPv6 now, because IPv4 whatever allocated it's almost nearly being used now.
Absolutely. So IP version 4, IPv4, it is in crisis. Okay, so there are no numbers are left. Okay, for to use. Very soon it will get finished. So that's why IP version 6 comes here, and it, now a lot of companies these days, right from telco, ISPs, they are all using they are converting their backbone network to dual stack, both for IP version 4 and IP version 6. Okay. So AWS provides both IP version 4 and IP version 6, but we can start with IP version 4 because IPv4, no IPv6 means IPv4. Okay. Now tenancy. Tenancy, if you just select, there are two options, default and dedicated. Default, always choose default. Okay. Don't change dedicated. So dedicated means the moment you choose dedicated, that means this network, this entire setup will be very, very specific to a customer, one customer. That means the cloud is so cheap in terms of price. Why? You know that? Why cloud computing is so cheap in terms of price? Because at back end, one device can be used for multiple tenants, multiple customers. That means, let's say you have got one network gear, let's say router. That router can be used for multiple customers, but in a secure way. It is not something like that, one customer can have access to another customer data. No, AWS has done enough automations, enough security measures so that the data still isolated, but the device will remain same. So that's why it is very, very cheap in terms of price. So default means it's a shared. Dedicated means the moment you choose dedicated, that means the back end infrastructure, router, switch, storage, servers are very, very dedicated to one customer, which is very, very expensive. Now the question is why, sir, dedicated? Then it's a very expensive, and why AWS has introduced this feature. So still there are some of the customers, they don't believe in default one like military, defense, research, government entities. They still go for the dedicated, but today world, even the government agencies, bank, public PSUs, many, many government, because I'm part of the government team as well from AWS. So they still use the default options. Okay, no problem, because default is as secure as others. Okay, so for your knowledge, always choose the default. Dedicated, don't choose unless until customer they need. Number of availability zones. Now it's clear. So number of availability zones means the moment I create VPC, now it will say, okay, in the VPC, how many availability zones you will go for, sir? AWS is asking. Let's assume AWS is asking. So you can create 1, 2, 3, whatever the AZ is available in that particular regions. But let's say I will go for 2 availability zones. That means 2 distinct data centers, isn't it? So now the next line, you can also go for 3, no problem. 2, 3. If you just change, you see the number 3, 2, 3, 2, something like, now here you can see that I have got US 1A, US 1B, 2 availability zones. 1A, B, it is a kind of their unified code for data centers or AZ as well. Okay. So 1A, 1B, that's how they segregate. Now the next set of areas, which is subnets. Oh my God. Now you think, okay, sir, now what's that? What is subnet? Okay. Subnet is a smaller network. We know the bigger one. Now, subnets are nothing but a smaller network. Something like that. Or maybe something like this. So, the main network I can break down into smaller network like HR, like finance, like sales, like IT. I'm just giving you some of the, some of the ideas. It's not exactly the same. The subnet is very close group of departments. In IT, in networking term, that we called VLAN, virtual LAN. In AWS, they don't call virtual LAN, etc. They are saying, no, we will not say virtual LAN, bagera. We call it subnet. Okay. So something like that, you can create smaller network in different data centers. Make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now exactly I'm going to create number of public subnet and number of private subnets. We'll have a 6 minutes left, but we'll complete. So public subnet or private subnet, what exactly you mean? Any idea? What do you mean by public subnet? What do you mean private subnet? What your common sense says? No?
So it's like private and public network, not quite similar, but the private subnet can only access with the private connection, but public subnet, if it's available, it can be on internet, so any user can access, but with certain permissions. Not everyone can access. So basically, if it's available on internet, it's publicly available, and if it's on internet but it's private, so nobody can access without the port and rules, so it's private basically, I guess.
Yeah, very nice, very good. So public subnets means it is designed for public. That means it will be internet exposed. So if you have got somebody, let's say he or she is your customer, and in this subnet, let's say this is a public subnet, okay? This first this square. And let's say if I host any server, let's say EC2. What is EC2? That we'll discuss later. So let's say you have deployed one of your applications, any application, web applications. So if this customer would like to access your applications, then their request will go to the particular subnet, because this particular subnet it will be a internet exposed. Okay, something like that. If I just go click internet, okay. So now this circle is what? This circle is router. It's like at your home. If you go your home, if you use broadband connections, you see there's a white or black router at your desk, right? In your home, if you're using the Wi-Fi these days. So this router, what does? Router connects to internet, right? So the same way in AWS, you'll have the router, and this public subnet is actually connected to this public router. I mean, this router and this router will connect to the internet, so that anybody would like to access your applications, okay, so that their request will come all the way through internet, and then it will go to the applications. Whereas the private subnet is completely isolated. It is not exposed to the internet because it's very, very secure. Let's say you have deployed your database. And database is very confidential data, right? It holds a very confidential data. Do you want that database will get exposed to internet, everybody can access? No, right? It should be in a secure network, another subnet, so that this public and private, probably they can communicate each other, because the application and database connections, because the application wants to connect database. But this database cannot be directly exposed to the internet, isn't it? So that is the main reasons to segregate your subnets, public and private subnets. Rest we'll discuss in Saturday. That's all for today. Any questions? No questions?
No.
How would I access the class? Sorry, one more time, like for future recording.
Good questions, because I have not told you. So what will happen? There's a link you will see. There's a Mediafire link. Okay.
Okay.
We are developing a LMS software which is not yet launched, but right now there's a link. Only you need to click the link, and all of the recordings you'll get access day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, so on and so forth. Right there. And also assignments I will upload, not now, it is very early. We are not yet finished. So the assignment also I will upload, and I'll keep on updating about this assignment also, so that you guys have the assignments. I will tell you which assignments you have to complete. Every single thing you will see in that particular repo. I'll share, I'll create the recording link. I'll create the Mediafire repo link, and I'll send it by today EOT.
Okay. And can you please also send the networking videos so I can also go through those?
Yes. I'll send in the same WhatsApp channel or WhatsApp group. Okay. You just go. Is a so I've uploaded in Google Drive, so you'll see that in the same link. And your home task is nothing much. You have to have create the AWS Management Console. You have to create the AWS account in next class. Okay. In case you find difficulties, sometime what happened, the debit card, credit card issues, and something, that's okay. You have to figure it out. But try to complete, so that the next day you have to go with me. You have to, whatever you do, whatever I do, you can go along with me, or maybe you can do later. But without AWS account, you cannot do well. Okay, that is my humble submission request to you guys. Thank you so much for your time. See you on Saturday.